It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Not half bad.
Hope everybody out there is doing all right. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well,
Deep subject.
I'm trying to think, what did I do? I think last week I was telling you guys about Lucifer. Mm-hmm. I did finish it. Last 3 seasons, what a load of crap.
Wow. What did you really feel?
I like the characters. I like the actors in it. You know, that was good. It's just the storyline went really, really wonky. I think Supernatural. I think they played too hard into the Supernatural, and it just kind of changed the vibe of the whole first 3 seasons that was laid out by the network. I guess they felt, being non-network, they could take a few more liberties. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't like the storyline they took it. It was just, yeah. So if you watch it, just watch the first 3 seasons and let them end it the way they wanted to end it. Yeah, it's, like I said, and I love Tom, I think it's Tom Ellis. They also had Superman, Smallville.
Tom Welling?
What is his name?
Tom Welling.
Tom Welling. Yeah, so it was Tom Ellis and Tom Welling together. Tom Welling came in and played Kane, which was kind of a neat part. But I'll tell you what, I hated him in this role. I absolutely hated him. And it wasn't just the character. I've seen the boy act on Smallville. I've seen him guest star in other shows and stuff too. He can act, but it's like he completely forgot how to do that in this show. There was just times it was like, really? That was so corny. I mean, and it wasn't the way it was wrote. It's just the way he was acting it. So I really hated him in this role.
So he just missed the point, huh?
It could have been how he was directed, too.
True. But he just...
Directors do have an influence.
To me, it was like the feel that this was his first acting job. You know, it wasn't good at all. And I guess, too, it didn't help that I did not like the character he was playing. Even when he was a quote-quote good guy, I didn't like him then either. So when he turned out to be Kane and pretty much an asshole, it was like, okay, you know, now I'm justified hating you. But I felt bad because, like I said, I like him. I've seen him in other things than Smallville, but just the acting he did on Smallville was 1,000 times better than what he gave us on Lucifer. So if you don't want to lose your opinion of him, don't watch the first 3 seasons either. Just stay away from Lucifer. So, but I'm that kind of person, though. If I start it, I have to finish it. So I did finish it. And like I said, I think there's some shows that Netflix has gotten a hold of, and they've done really good with them. Manifest, right off the top of my head. They carried the same tone with it. They carried the same story with it. They finished the story. If you was to binge watch it from season 1 to whatever it ended on, you would never know when Netflix took charge. With Lucifer, you can definitely tell when the network ended and Netflix picked up, because it went downhill from there. I think they kind of showed us why the network canceled it, because it was kind of a, where do you go from here? And the story that was pitched, if it was what Netflix produced, they were probably like, no, that's crap. So they should have listened to that. Although I did enjoy watching Tom Ellis. Like I said, I really liked his character on this. He did a good job playing him. Some of the biblical leeways they took was kind of a Being a preacher's daughter, it was kind of hard to play backseat to that. But it was just some things that the devil wouldn't do, like he could never tell a lie. Oh, hello. The devil is the prince of lies, So, like I said, there was just a few things there that it was kind of like, no,
And he would never go down to Georgia, too.
Right.
Can't play fiddle
they had
with
him
a
playing the
dam,
piano.
I'm just saying.
Speaking of,
but see, I could see Lucifer being very into music. I've always thought that that's part of his fall, was he was very poetic and into, if you think of lust and desires and gluttony, the 7 deadly sins and things, you can find that in music. It's music portrays your feelings, and I could see, I know, come from my head, I don't mind. I could see how the devil could be, buddy with that, how he could use that. Because,
sure, and it's not like that's never been a theme before.
Right. So I could see, with him playing the piano and stuff, that was kind of cool, and he was into music and that kind of stuff, but there was just some things that it was kind of like, no, that's not the devil. He should have been like a crossroad demon instead of the devil, making deals with people and never led them astray. And it's kind of like, that's not what the devil is. But yeah.
Well, and it's also easy to paint all of those different things as facets of the same person.
Right.
And if that's what they're trying to do, then man, that's rough, because that's a lot.
But it's just, I don't know. I think I need to go back and read the comic line he came out of. But I remember I'm wanting to say it was Lucifer and Michael. I was thinking this all came out of the Sandman universe that Neil Gaiman put the character down for him. I could be wrong on that. But the Lucifer that Neil Gaiman had, he was the devil. I mean, plain and simple, he was the devil. He had the characteristics of the devil. He acted like the devil. The only time he didn't was when I think Michael was injured, and he actually helped him, find how to help him, But even in the Bible, they're brothers. Why would he not help his brother? Devil or not, So that the comic made more sense than some of the stuff that they were pulling in the TV show. But I haven't read all of the Sandman universe to know. I think I only read the story of Lucifer and Michael. So I could be way off, and this is what Gaiman wanted for him, Excuse me. I don't remember when this was on, Neil actually commenting if he liked the direction of this show or not. So I'd be curious on that one too. So that was the bad. I did have a good. Amazon has released Fallout. I don't know why, but they released all 8 episodes at once, which is kind of weird because Amazon has very, like with The Boys and Gen V and even Rings of Power and stuff, they've made them, I call it episodic, where they put out episodes, a weekly schedule. I don't know why they didn't do that on this one. I feel like Amazon didn't have a lot of confidence in this when they put it out. And that's kind of and they were like, well, here you go, kind of thing. And boy, let me tell you, this thing has taken off. I am watching it one a week because I'm watching it with a friend. But we're only a few in, and wow, I don't. When you think of a TV show based on Fallout, my first idea was how do you base a TV show off a Vault game? How do you do that? So I kind of went in this with a attitude because I didn't know how they would do that. And even if they did do that, how entertaining would that be? So the first 10 minutes, they show you how they captured that. And boy, did they. I mean, there's things that they pan out and show you. And it was like, I remember that from the video game. Vault Boy and the posters and stuff. You see all of those all out through the game and everything else. Some of the characters, like I said, wow. I forget the ghoul's name. William Morgan, I think it is. I'll have to look that up, but he's doing an amazing job. Like I said, I'm only a couple episodes in, but already just a couple episodes in, he's been like 3 distinctly different people. He was the face of Vault, so he was Vault Boy, but he also, when the apocalypse happened, which I wish they would have played around a little longer with that because that was awesome. But, he was playing like a cowboy then. And then after, the world explodes, when we see him again, he's a ghoul. And it's each different, it's all one guy, but each character you see him in, it was totally different attitude, even just the way he held his body lets you know that he was playing a different person, So, I really liked him. The guy who's playing Maximus, he was in, this just all left my head. He was in another TV show that I watched, and I liked him in that. But when I first saw him in this movie or show, he reminds me of, is his name John Boyega, who plays Finn in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It just the same, almost, they could be the same character, kind of unsure of what you're doing in this role. Do you want to help the good guys kind of thing? So he's done really well. And the girl, Ella Parnell, who's playing the lead, amazing. She's what's made the show. She has captured the whole hi diddly ho, of the whole game. And, we help each other. And she is the game. She is what's brought the whole game feel to this world. I don't know how it ends yet, but just from what I've seen so far and the different cities and things that they have showed us, this could very well be the next universe where, the good shows and stuff come out of. They have set it up that good. You can definitely tell Amazon spared no expense on making this. Like I said, the beginning, the first 5 minutes of the show when the world is exploding, Jesus Christ, you felt the heat. It was that good. Like I said, I wish they would have played a little bit longer into that, just because the way they handled that and showed us the effects and stuff. So that was pretty cool. But once the world explodes, it starts over it jumps 200 years. So I guess this would be 200 years from now. Well, no, I think it was like the 60s when that happened. When were we fighting with Russia and people started building the bomb shelters and stuff? Wasn't that the 60s?
50s and 60s, yeah.
50s and 60s, yeah.
Yeah. So it starts off in that time period, which is also kind of cool because all of the music that they play in the vault's been like Johnny Cash, you know, that kind of stuff. So they captured all of it. I don't think I have really liked a show this much in a long time. So go Amazon. I just don't understand why they released it all at once. I know it's, you know, so people could binge it or whatever, but I think with as much buzz that's been around this, had they spaced it out, they could have kept this buzz going for a little longer and kind of held us over till The Boys releases in June. So, not sure what the thinking was there. Like I said, to me it almost felt like they didn't have confidence in it. That they were, let's just get this out of here, you know.
Well, you never really
And
know
now
with
they're
video game properties.
Yeah.
They can
right.
be rough.
Generally, it's bad. Any kind of adaptation. Yeah, any adaptation to. I think this is actually the first series. I mean, everything else has been movies.
Yeah.
But, I mean, oh god.
Well, I think of The Witcher. And
The Witcher's.
it started off good.
I was trying not to bring that one up, but anyway.
Yeah. It started off good, and then it just got bad. And now with Liam, it's kind of a.
I haven't seen it yet with Liam, so you can't judge.
Right.
No, but I've seen him in the Witcher costume, and it's kind of a, okay. He's definitely no Henry Cavill. That's for sure.
Yeah, we already know all about your bias against Liam Hemsworth.
Right. Oh, but speaking of, he is going to be a daddy. Go Superman.
Oh, Henry Cavill.
I mean, it looks like he did, but you know. But if I could have picked my dad, I would have picked him. So, yeah. I told everybody.
Lust after your father.
Right, true. Maybe it's good. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Him and his fiance are expecting, so not that he'll ever hear this, but congratulations on that. That's pretty awesome. And the look on his face when they're announcing this was just like he's going to be a good dad.
He's going to raise a nerd.
He will, big time.
Because he's a big old nerd.
He is a big old nerd. But see, I think that's what makes him so relatable, you know?
Sure.
And why people like him. Yeah. Well, he's not really, I don't know. Yeah. Because he's.
Yeah, let's not get into the weird fantasy thing. All right?
Right. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's just back away from this slowly now.
Although he did show when he was breaking down a computer and putting one together. I mean, nerd porn. I mean, that's all it was. But,
wow.
Yeah. So, congratulations to him.
Mm-hmm.
And his girlfriend is absolutely gorgeous. So, they're going to have a cute baby. Maybe the next Soup Son.
Maybe, assuming Henry is still playing Superman by then. But we're not starting down that road either.
Yeah. But did y'all also see that he's finally going to get the chance to play a James Bond while he's playing Guy Ritchie? Yay! So he was turned down for James Bond, and he's like, okay, I've got one better. I'll play the guy that was made after. So he won. I think it'll be pretty good. You can definitely tell when he's into a project. There's been some things that he's played in that you're kind of like, yeah. But when, like with Witcher and Superman, the new Warhammer he's doing and stuff, you can really tell that he puts himself all the way into it. So we'll get a pretty good quote James Bond movie out of him.
Well, Supposedly we did with Man from U.N.C.L.E. I have not watched it, but I've heard nothing but good things about it.
I don't think I've watched that one.
It's
with
fun.
him. Huh.
Yeah, I've from some of the stuff I've read, some people were like, "Why wasn't this turned into a franchise?" I guess it didn't do that well financially, but I've heard a lot of good things about the film. I like I said, I have not watched it, so I can't say. But
I'll have to watch that one. I don't think I've watched that one either.
I haven't either.
I did the older one, but that's pretty cool, and he's pretty good cast too.
Yep, I remember thinking ew remake at the time, but yeah, if people say it's good,
yeah,
I would take a shot at it.
Well, Les said it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of the TV series.
That's cool. Usually, if he has a say, that's what he tries to do, is stick to source.
Okay. Mikey.
Alrighty. So I watched another old movie. Because old movies are fun. They're entertaining. This one was interesting too. It's I watched It Came from Outer Space, 1953. Starring Richard Carlson and Barbara Rush. And
who recently passed away.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but that's not why I watched it, but coincidence. Also a relatively young Russell Johnson appears in this one, which is fun. It's an interesting role, but that's because it's kind of an interesting movie. For it being such an early take on aliens, it's an interesting take on aliens. So briefly, the story is Richard Carlson plays a journalist and amateur astronomer who recently moved out to the desert just to basically get away from people. He and his fiancée see what looks like a meteor hit the desert several miles away, and fortunately they have a buddy who has a helicopter, so they go get him and fly out to it, so they're the first ones there. And the astronomer swears up and down that he saw something, that it's a ship, and he saw some sort of creature inside. But the whole crater collapsed, and so it buried the whole thing, and so nobody believed him. Turns out he was right. Spoiler. And so the aliens try to scare him off, for starters, and then they start. I don't want to go too far into it because it's actually an interesting twist. Like I said, it's an interesting take on aliens. Suffice it to say, the gist of it is they're really just trying to get back off the planet. They're trying to fix their ship to get off the planet. Because, not surprisingly, we're not ready.
Right.
And it's a fun little story. There's a lot of driving, but that's because it's out in the desert, and so they're constantly going back and forth between the town and the crater. But yeah, I actually liked it quite a bit. Not the least of which, like I keep saying, obviously, for the way the aliens interact with people. And also, fun little tips. This is directed by Jack Arnold, who a couple of years later directed Creature from the Black Lagoon. And it was based on an early film treatment by Ray Bradbury. So he did not end up writing the screenplay, but it is based on his film treatment.
Very nice.
Cool.
So yeah, it's worth checking out. It's on Tubi, not surprisingly.
Tubi.
Now I will give one warning. Despite this being a really good movie, the version on Tubi is colorized, but there's a problem with it. I mean, normally I'm not offended by colorizing. I mean, I don't think it's necessary. I don't have a problem with black and white movies. Some of my favorite movies are honestly silent movies. And there sure as hell wasn't in color back then. The problem is that this was originally done as a 3D feature, and the colorizing didn't cope with that well. And so the coloring is actually really kind of weird in some places. It's almost got this weird shimmering effect, like you kind of expect from an old 3D. I mean, it's the kind of effect that you would have if you put the glasses on, that it would make there's just enough like of a shimmer to it. But the colorizing process didn't cope with that all that well. So the color is a little weird at times. Sometimes it's not particularly obvious, but there are times when it's really obvious that it's just not quite right. It's like the colors are moving when the stuff on the screen's not. But other than that, if you can block that out in your mind, it's a fun movie.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Russell Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not playing a bad guy.
He's not at all. It's funny too, because when he's introduced, it looks like a bit part, but it actually turns out to be way more important than it seems at first. I'm not going to say any more than that about it, but his role in this is important, even if he's not in the movie a whole ton.
Yeah, I didn't realize he's done that much sci-fi, but he did quite a bit.
There was a lot of it going on back in that time frame.
Well, true.
Between this and Gilligan's Island, for example. He's practically a sci-fi character in that movie, or in that show.
Yeah.
Certainly nobody else understood science. Not that he understood the concept of building a boat, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of amazing. They couldn't fix the boat, but he's able to construct all these things from coconuts and stuff. You're just like, okay.
Right, they practically got a friggin' resort built on this island, but they can't get off of the island for some reason. Apparently his scientific knowledge is limited to dry land, but whatever. It's cool. Mm-hmm. It's a plot device, nothing more.
We need to save this talk. We need to save this.
Okay.
Ew.
How's that for a tease?
Okay, cool. I'll shut up then.
But I was thinking about This Island Earth.
Oh.
He was in that too.
Yeah,
He's one of the scientists.
He was.
And that was a bit part too.
Mm-hmm. I haven't watched that in a long time either.
It's been a while for me. Which is funny if you think about it, because the second in command, the alien second in command, his name was Brack. And we just had David on last week. Space Ghost.
Talk about Brack. Yep.
Talk about Brack.
Yep.
And he's like, I wonder where they got that name from.
Oh, speaking of that, Jack Arnold also had a hand in directing This Island Earth.
Oh, okay.
So, anyway, we need to stop going into it, but.
Oh, let's keep on. One more bit of trivia: the leader of the alien race, he was the reporter in Thing from Another World. He was Scotty.
Oh, cool.
There's another one that's in all the sci-fi movies. Okay, Les, it's your turn.
Really?
He's like, what the frick?
I can't report on much. I have been reading, and I'm finishing up a Stephen King book that came out in 21. This is one of his novelizations for the detective line that he's been writing for. This one's called Later, and it's been good. It's really solid with the story, and I was thinking that I have not read a King book where I did not like the characters, and this one follows suit. There are some that had zero plot, and I'm thinking of the one where people were living under the bubble. That was god awful.
The Mist.
And then they had to make that into a TV movie. I thought, really? What a waste.
Like a TV show like Life Under the Dome or something?
I was thinking of something else. All right, never mind. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what the title was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the word dome was in the title. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was like Life Under the Dome or something weird like that.
Dome Life.
Something. I didn't choose the dome life. It chose me.
Yeah, make it sound like a Pauly Shore movie. Good Lord.
Biodome.
Stephen King wrote Biodome? That's, wow. I expected better from him.
But since we were talking about programs coming up, I was happy to see where Outer Range is coming back to Prime.
Oh.
And if you get a chance to see that, it's extremely well done. That was with James Brolin.
Yeah, I remember you praising it pretty highly.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I think Amazon's just been knocking it out of the park.
Well, 'tis that season.
Yep.
But that's kind of it for me.
Not sure if you're talking about spring series stuff, knocking it out of the park, or baseball, but anyway, sure.
Hey, baseball.
Didn't they just pick up a sports channel?
Probably.
Yeah, I was say that they could be doing that soon too.
Mm.
Well, for me, I really don't have too much. Been spending a lot of time on Pluto, and oh my God, as much as I've been touting Pluto, they've been having some technical issues here recently. And it's been kind of strange. It's just, I mean, for one example, some of my bookmarks would not work. If I decide I want to go watch the Mission Impossible channel, I couldn't. It kept it where I was before. So I actually had to create a new bookmark. I've never had that bookmark. Favorite.
Because he's watching on the computer.
Yeah, I'm watching on the computer. So, and then they've been having some They've been having some issues, so, but it really hadn't been an issue until recently, so I can't really complain too much. But it could be just, who knows? They're maybe getting too big, and all of a sudden they're feeling the growing pains. I don't know.
Maybe.
But that's pretty much it. Working on stuff for podcasts. I actually kind of came up with kind of a crazy idea that's going to be down the road, so you guys have been warned.
We like crazy.
Not sure if he's talking to us or if he's talking to the listening audience, but anyway.
I thought, well,
could be both.
Both.
Pretty much both, but yeah, it's gonna be affecting y'all first. So
sure.
So
approximately a week earlier than everybody else, but anyway.
I'm good at doing crazy.
We know.
So that's pretty much about it for me. I'm sorry, kind of boring this week. Oh well, let's go ahead and get into this week's discussion. I'm trying to remember where I got this, how I got this idea. Something had been presented, or I read something somewhere where I kind of came up with the idea that, when I was young, there was a bunch of team-up books that were being put out by the big two. You obviously had the Brave and the Bold. You had Marvel Team Up. You had Marvel 2-in-1. And then later you had DC Comics Presents. And if you've not read any of these books, you usually had a main member, a main person, as a main character, a lead. Obviously, Brave and Bold was Batman, because if you've seen the animated series, that's pretty much the comics, the comic version that they presented you. Even in the style, in theme. Yeah. So that's what made the show fun to watch, because it was such a blast. It was just a reminder. It was just like the comic book had come to life. Marvel Team Up was Spider-Man, and Marvel 2-in-1 was The Thing, which it's kind of a unique choice, but it kind of worked because Ben Grimm is such a kind of a great character and can work with anybody. So that's what kind of made that book fun to read. And then DC Comics Presents was Superman. But these type of books are not around anymore. The closest thing you've got is the Batman Superman, which is essentially World's Finest. I think the book now is called Batman Superman World's Finest. But that's about it. And I just wonder if there is there room for a book like that now, and should there be a book like that now? So.
Loaded questions.
With
very different answers.
Mm-hmm.
I like the team-ups. I enjoyed the Spider-Man Deadpool team-up. I don't know, is that considered a team-up?
It could be, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think it's Dynamite. And it's going to sound so crazy, but Scooby, pretty much that whole line is nothing but team-ups, too, which is always kind of interesting.
The Scoobies, yeah, that's basically the closest thing we've got to those now, is the Scooby team-ups. So.
Is that still going? Are they still doing those?
I think they are.
I think cool. A version of it's still going, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's always kind of neat when they take two characters who don't necessarily belong together and team them up. Kind of let the other one's skill set shine a little bit differently than that one, Get
them out of their comfort zone a little.
Yeah.
Test the characters a bit.
Spider-Man and Deadpool were, it's kind of crazy because they were really similar in a lot of ways. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but they're really similar in a lot of ways. And of course, they're obviously different in big ways. But the big difference is kind of is what made it work with them. And kind of made it funny at times too. So.
Sure. And that's, I mean, I think that's a part of it that you can really play into when you're writing one of those things is how can, I mean, we taking two characters that don't normally work together and throwing them together and letting hijinks ensue. I mean, it's it's a way that you can get those characters together and be entertaining along the way.
Yep.
Which is always a good idea.
Kind of like the new movie about to come out with Deadpool and Wolverine. That's a pretty good team up too.
That's a team up thing. I mean, that's honestly right now. That's probably, other than the Scooby thing you talked about, that's probably where we're getting the most of this stuff is from movies and animated stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing
I'd like to see more.
The thing I liked about them, and I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, you're okay. Is, I mean, it could be anybody, which is nice because it gives the reader a chance to read character or characters that they may have heard of, but obviously are not in an ongoing or anything like that. It gives them a chance to get more familiar with some of the characters that just are not used as much.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought when you were talking about it with the Batman thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna pull in a bunch of people reading something with Batman in it, and if you're taking that opportunity to introduce lesser known characters that could be cool and people might like, then it's a great testing ground for that.
Yeah. Because I remember reading those when I was younger and just not knowing a lot of those characters. And that's where I learned about them, was from those books. Because, like Creeper, I mean, I had not read any of the Creeper stuff. I didn't have the chance to. But, he showed up on Brave and Bold, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of an interesting character. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And would I like to see him again? Yeah, I mean, it would be cool for that reason alone, is to expose some other characters that you don't really get to see unless it's a big event, which really I don't want to read event books anymore.
They burned us out on those in the 90s.
And it seems like there's 2 or 3 a year now, and it's just I just
yeah, it's got to be a little too standard.
Yeah. So something like that, yeah. I mean, it would be nice to kind of have a different start too. I mean, the obvious thing would be to bring Spider-Man back or Batman back, because those are your big sellers. But I think there's other characters that could be leads for those books.
Or you don't even have to do it with a lead. You could just throw together two characters.
Yeah, you could do that.
Semi-randomly, even.
Yeah.
I mean, I know why they used the big character to do it. But,
right.
But it still could be interesting to change it up now and then. Give Batman a month off.
Mm-hmm.
Let Spider-Man save the world this month and have two other characters show up instead.
Yep.
Somebody has to fill in for him in some way.
While he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to spin it.
Yeah. Les, your thoughts?
Couple things. I enjoyed those series, like World's Finest. I do want to ask about this Scooby. What is this?
Scooby-Doo? Ruh-roh.
Is he not being done by DC? He was being done by DC for quite some time.
Yeah.
I could say as of a couple of years ago, he was for sure.
Yeah.
That's the last time I picked up a book.
I thought he was under Dynamite still. Wasn't he under Dynamite for a while?
No. The deal is that what Hanna-Barbera stuff they've done, other than Scooby, has been done by Dynamite lately. But DC has kept a tight clamp on Scooby, as far as I know. Like I said, as of like 2 years ago, they were still doing a monthly Scooby-Doo book.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
And it was DC.
My bad on that one.
No worries.
I thought it was Dynamite. I know Dynamite does like SpongeBob and My Little Pony, and I guess I just threw all the cartoons over there.
Rumor has it they're about to do a Space Ghost book too. But...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do tell.
Another cartoon book.
Exactly.
And of course, Batman has been doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 2 or 3 series now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those were kind of neat. I like
those
the way
were fun.
They put them together.
I would like to see more team ups myself, just because there's a plethora of ideas they could use.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the one that Max did? Was that also Batman and the Max?
Yes.
Yeah, there was one of those.
That one was pretty good too.
Going back to you talking about Batman and Turtles, it seems like kind of a no-brainer that they should do Turtles and Daredevil.
Yeah.
That one might be a little too on the nose.
I could be wrong, but didn't the way the Batman. The Batman. The way they handle that, though, was the Turtles were from, like, an alternate universe or something, or they weren't in the same dimension or something weird like that.
Originally, they were created from the ooze that cost Daredevil his sight.
Ah, okay.
Though they were very subtle about it.
Yes.
Because it ain't like they had the license to use Daredevil for this.
Right.
As I recall, they didn't name him. But there was an awfully convenient, awfully familiar-looking costume in silhouette there.
That would be a pretty cool team-up then. Huh.
Just seems like a no-brainer, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to get Marvel on board for something like that.
Oh, I'm sure they'd be okay with it.
Yeah, of course, the only thing they hear is ka-ching! Okay.
There's that. I mean, the Turtles have raked in their fair share of cash over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I heard they're getting ready to do animated The Last Ronin. That one was a good series.
I hadn't heard of that. I heard that they're going to do another live action.
I think
movie.
I don't know if it's live action. Let me see.
Well, I know that they're going to. There's talk of another live action, but I don't know if it was The Last Ronin. But I could see that either way.
Yep. It's The Last Ronin. It will be a live action, and it's getting an R rating.
Ooh.
But it would it would be hard to tell that story and not have it R rated.
Sure.
I mean, one of them's dead, you know.
Just like Deadpool. You can't do that not R-rated.
Mm-mm.
I mean, you could, but nobody would get it.
I think, too, by giving it an R rating, you're keeping away the kids, which, if you're talking about having a dead turtle, you want to keep the kids away. You know, you want to keep them with the animated and the Nickelodeon stuff over here. And I see this more as, this is for us. This is the fans who picked it up when we were little kids. You know, this one's for us. Not a
I mean, and that book was
Nickelodeon
never,
too, you know.
Right, and the original series was not for kids anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it was never intended to be for kids, but I don't think Eastman and Laird were thinking about kids when they made that book.
Right.
To me, they were thinking
but when they made
of
the cartoon, it was
saying?
definitely kids.
Okay, take turns. Choose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were originally doing satire. That was the whole point of Turtles. It was a satire because there was such a big load of teenagers that had superpowers and shit like that.
Yeah.
So to me, that was the whole point of the Turtles to begin with.
I can see that with the ooze and everything.
But if you did The Last Ronin, how many people? Okay, we'll say 1,000 people have a chance to go see the movie, and only 1,000 people in the whole world. How many people are going to go see it? Because it is such an obscure title. And it was a good story, but it was so...
But how much exposure did it really get?
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
I think
I'm sorry, Liz, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Go ahead.
It went in 2 or 3 printings.
Mm-hmm. And it was the first time that Eastman and, was it Waltz, was back together again. So it was kind of like the original team was doing another story together. So I think that was some of the draw too, which I think would also be what the movie would be, is the people who knew who the original team was, would be the ones watching this.
And that's where I have the problem.
Yeah.
If it's just going to be the people that know the story, they're not going to make big sales on the site. Yeah. That's for damn sure.
Well, so the deal there,
it's... Go ahead.
The deal there is that the whole point of jumping, of crossing media, is to try to draw a bigger audience. So they're banking on the fact that it's a good story, which everybody keeps saying, but I didn't actually read it, so I'm having to trust you guys. They're banking on the fact that a good story is going to make a good movie, and that some people will recognize the Turtles and they'll go see it for that, and some people, and after that you'll get word of mouth, and so other people will go see it. And if we make it big and flashy enough on the screen, then a crap ton of people will go see it anyway, because that's what people really want anyway, is big and flashy.
Yeah.
So maybe it's actually a good thing in that regard.
I think you're right, because it's not just a turtle thing. You're also capturing the R-rated horror genre people too, who could care less if it's turtles or pandas or Winnie the Pooh. They're just there to see the gore and the story.
Right, they're looking for that dark, sinister feel.
Yep.
That they get from something in that vein, something they get from a Batman movie or something.
Yeah.
Except maybe it'll be darker and grittier. Like a Punisher movie or something.
Like the Joker. They thought that was going to be such a niche market too that they really didn't advertise or market it very much, and then it went on to make over $1 billion. Just not necessarily the Batman fans, because most of the Batman fans were like, no, I'm not going to go watch that, but from the other people who really didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, because a lot of people, when that movie came out, a lot of people who I would never thought have gone and seen that movie, they're talking to me. It's like, you need to watch it. You need to see it.
It was definitely different. It wasn't the average superhero movie, which I think was what made it do so well. Because as much as we like superhero movies, I mean, I can watch them all day. The general public, though, is getting burnt out. They want something different. They don't want the good guy to come in and save the day. Well, in this story, it already starts out that one of the good guys is dead, and let's figure out what happened, So I think it's more of I don't think that the turtles will be the draw on this one. I think it'll be the story.
Well,
but I kind of liked... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I kind of liked that it was an R rating, because Nickelodeon has done so much to reboot the Turtles on their show and make them like preteens and teenagers and that kind of thing. So I kind of like that this will keep them away from that, because they don't need to see their hero dead, I won't say which one or how it happens, but, I would rather keep them with the animated, kooky, Vanilla Ice turtle movies that they're known for. Go Ninja.
I'll be honest, I'd rather watch The Last Ronin than a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle with Vanilla Ice.
Right. But it was cool as shit when we were 12.
Vanilla Ice was never cool, and I mean that literally. He was never cool.
He was good to dance to.
If you say so. The crowd we ran in didn't do a lot of dancing. Put it that way.
I do have...
I was about to say, well, I mean, if you were dancing to David Bowie. It was not Vanilla Ice.
True.
So.
I think that's what drew me to that.
Because that was a Bowie song, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
It's Under Pressure.
Yeah.
Bowie and Queen.
Yeah. So. Go ahead, Les. I'm sorry, sir.
No, I was just going to say that Mike brought up an interesting point. He was saying that they would be able to have this good story and such. And I want to say that's a first.
For Turtles? Yeah.
For most anything right now.
Just movies in general.
Because I'm not sure that they truly exist.
The Turtles? They don't.
No. The story.
She's fucking with you, man. Yeah, it makes you wonder sometimes if they even have writers in Hollywood.
They don't. They have pegboards.
Well, they're about to go on strike.
They managed to have a writer. They managed to have a writer's strike. Yeah, I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal with that was, but.
Yeah.
Well,
they ran out of darts. They had to wait for the new order to get in.
Apparently, another one's coming too.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. Which, okay.
As far as the original thought, it was There are a lot of titles I would like to see brought forward, just so I can take in some of these, to me, the finer stories. I got a feeling there are enough of them out there, so I would encourage the writers to bring them forward. And luckily we had one last time that was bringing something forward.
Mm-hmm.
And wish him best of luck, because I got a feeling it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
From what he told us,
yeah. It sounds like it's going to be pretty good. Now, if you're wanting these titles to come back, I mean, Mike's already said to have a kind of a rotation of leads, but is there any particular lead that you would really love to see? Particular character you would like to have be the lead role?
Well, you know who my favorite character is outside superheroes, I'm going to say.
Yeah, Forbushman.
That's exactly it. My gosh, you are tremendous.
You're reading his mind.
It's fucking uncanny.
That's tucking futz. I would like to see, it's already been done, but I would like to see Adam Strange and who are the three characters that would always botch the mysteries?
The Three Stooges?
No.
That would be interesting team up, though.
Yes, it would. Three Stooges have been to space, too, so...
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
But there were three characters that would always take different looks at a mystery and come up with an answer for it. And they would always be wrong. Unfortunately, I cannot remember their names.
Not a clue here.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank too.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be about 2 or 3 hours after we get it. We're just signed off.
He'll drop a message in Discord tomorrow morning going, "Hey, I thought of it."
Oh, it's him.
Kind of like might say something.
But actually, Adam Strange would be a great character to use for when you want to do like the outer space people.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of heroes in DC land that are in outer space. I mean, the Green Lanterns, you could pull any number of them. I mean, any of the Lantern people. Mm-hmm. And there's a ton of others that he would be great to slot in to travel to whatever's planet and run into this hero that doesn't get a whole lot of airtime otherwise, and have an adventure with them. That would be a good fit.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Then you just find someone else to do it Earthbound. Maybe come up with a couple of different people at like various power levels to deal with certain things.
Yep.
Give some poor schmo who doesn't really have any superpowers the job of stopping some major Superman level villain, and give him another unknown schmo to team up with to figure out how to do it, how to trick the guy or whatever.
Like Jimmy Olsen.
That's as good an example as any.
Yep.
Bound to be plenty of other characters like that haven't gotten any serious visibility in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even Lois Lane would be a fun one to do occasionally.
Yeah. Well, even on like the Superman show, Lois and Jimmy made a pretty good team. Neither one of them knew what they were doing, but together they did. You know?
Together they faked it well enough that they got Superman's attention to come help them. Yeah.
I mean, it's usually one of them getting in trouble, but
Sure.
Oh, okay. So I don't have to look for tomorrow. The group I was thinking of is the Star Rovers.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Because they were featured in Howard Chaykin's series called Twilight.
okay.
Cool.
So they looked familiar. I just didn't remember the name.
It's a 3-issue series. Howard Chaykin and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Sweet.
Okay.
But something like that, yeah. Just do it. If you want to do crossovers, that's fine. You remember one of the biggest crossovers was X-Men and New Teen Titans. It was a good story. Mm-hmm. It was one of the first of the two companies. If you want to do it that way, or if you want to do it as a series, you can do Hellraiser and Death.
Well, that sounds like a party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Get together and do our taxes.
There.
Wow. For me, for a DC book, I would really like to have Nightwing as the lead. I think that's a character that can work with just about anybody, and I could see that being a fun ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marvel, I kind of went outside the box because I tried to stay away from the ones who've already had started in a book like this. So I went with Nightcrawler. I think that would be interesting.
Oh yeah, that could be fun.
Because that can be fun. It can also be dark. It can be also supernatural. I mean, everything's kind of open with that kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? We may get it, since it seems like now that someone else is actually publishing books, we're getting more books. Valiant, I would love for Faith to have a team up book.
Totally.
And I love Faith. You know, I mean, even if it's just a team up book of her and Livewire, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But teaming up with some of the other characters, that would be it'd be kind of fun. And she's perfect because, I mean, she is a callback to these type of books. You know, she is the Boy Scout or Girl Scout in this case.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something I would also think of is a book for kids in Marvel, because they really don't have any. They do not have kids' book.
Kids don't have no money, man.
Well, if they do, they're buying Pokemon cards.
The kids have parents.
Yep.
Wait, do they?
It's
No.
Twoo.
It's just fabrication. I'm like, come on.
It's just rumor.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's not a lot of DC books for kids that are being put out now. And all the focus seems to be on young adult from both of them. Which,
DC still puts out the Bugs Bunny books after 20-some years.
Did Scooby-Doo, apparently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scooby.
But none of their characters, unless it's the Scooby-Doo team-up. That's the thing that kind of gets me. Is the main books are obviously geared toward teens and older, but they have nothing that's featuring their characters for the younger ages. Why is that?
When they do their Balthazar books, he takes the kids in.
Yeah, but when was the last one he's done? It's been a while. I mean, that's a great example, and I agree with you. But it's few and far between. That's not how you get someone. That's not how you get a younger person to get into. I mean, yeah, a perfect example is he did the Superman family. That was like a mini series, and it was collected and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I mean, is Junior going to graduate up to Superman? Start reading Superman? That may be a little too much. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer.
No, the only way they're still getting stuff in front of kids is through the animation.
Yeah.
They're basically assuming the kids don't read anymore.
Which is a shame.
Which sucks, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Kids don't read anymore because they don't publish books for them anymore. They don't publish books for them anymore because they think the kids don't read anymore. Cyclical thinking. Fallacied themselves into a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Or they read things out of their age range.
Such as?
Like, they automatically jump into the Superman title or the Batman title, or
right.
the
7 and 8-year-old kids are reading the teenager books.
Yeah.
You got the Pokemon books.
I don't have the Pokemon books. You may have the Pokemon books, but I don't have the Pokemon books.
Oh, hell, I know you do.
That's actually another good example, though. DC's doing those?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Saying I thought
No,
Bandai off.
They do their
What did
own,
they do?
probably.
I think they do.
Or sub them out through one of the other publishers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't looked at them in years.
Yeah.
Contrary to Les's allegations.
And one comic brand that we haven't mentioned yet, which is awesome at team-ups, Zenescope. With their Belle and Van Helsing and Cinderella. And
I thought about that when Tom was talking about Faith. I was thinking, what would be fun would be to stick Faith in the Zenescope universe.
There you go.
That would be cool.
Do team-ups that way.
Stick her with Van Helsing.
That would be interesting, yeah. I mean, stick her with several of them.
Yeah. Robin Hood.
Stick her with Robin Hood. That would be a fun meet-up.
That would.
And Gretel and all of them, yep.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked their pair-ups.
Yep.
But they do stay within their own.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
But it's a place to go to get something similar to what we're talking about, anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's about it.
Again, it's not kid stuff.
No, not at all.
Even though some of it is based on fairy tales, which are also not kid stuff from back in the day. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about the only thing that's ongoing. Is what Zenoscope does.
Yeah. And not only do they do their team ups, each girl has their own line too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, some good stuff there too.
Mm-hmm.
And as we go ahead and wrap things up here, any kind of final thoughts?
No, I mean, I would like to see more for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, give the big guys a rest for a month or two, you know.
Right, and it opens
Let
up
the
a
B-list take care of it.
bunch of different types of story possibilities.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with a rotation.
Mm-mm.
Because it makes it fresh for everybody. It makes it fresh for the writers.
Right, which is always a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe introduce a newer audience to someone they haven't seen before, you know.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with Geek News for You. And we're back, and it's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table, and for this week, it is Liz and me. And Liz, would you like to go first?
Sure. My news article is not a happy one. We thought the strikes were over, and they may not quite be over yet. And it's coming from a group that we probably never would associate with a strike. And that is actually Sesame Street. Their writers are now wanting to strike. Matter of fact, I think they have declared, or if a deal can't be reached by April 19th, they will be outside Sesame Street's workshop in Manhattan on April 24th with picket signs. They're wanting a better contract, but a lot of this is because their animators are not covered by the same thing that their writers are. Here's where it gets tricky because if you watch Sesame Street, I mean, it's been a staple of TV since, 1969. Sesame Street's kind of broke down into two different parts. You have the puppet human aspect of the show, and then you have the animated part of the show, which is usually the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those little songs and, cartoons and stuff that kind of fill in that hour. So you do have writers and animators who have to work together on that. Now, it is kind of crazy that if your writer has a pension and a retirement plan, that the same animator who's working on this same project doesn't have those same benefits that they have. So that's one thing that they've definitely, I could see wanting to be treated equal, for one. I think where this gets on a little bit shakier grounds than when Hollywood striked and everything else is that Sesame Street has always been nonprofit. So it is kind of weird when you have a nonprofit organization now asking for money. Weird, but, since 1969, they've never been off the air. I think it's more than deserved. I think this is a bad year to do it. And here's why. For one, we're coming up to an election. And this past year, they've kind of used the Muppets for things, for political stances, and they used Elmo for vaccinations and that kind of thing. So right now you have a large amount of people who are going, let it end. Who cares? Which is sad because I think they need to take a step back and realize this isn't about you. This is about our kids. This is where most kids will learn their ABCs and how to count and, how to be kind to each other and how to live in a diverse neighborhood with each other. And there's so many things that Sesame Street has tackled. Death, when Mr. Hooper died, I think they did a beautiful job of handling that. As a child, I can't remember the first person I lost in my life, but I can remember Mr. Hooper dying and what an impact that was, and basically how Sesame Street handled that. They didn't shy away from it. They went right to it and was like, hey, it's okay to feel like shit. You know, you just lost someone you loved, you know, but here's a healthy way to work through that. And I mean, a lot of kids nowadays, you have the Disneys and you have Blueys and SpongeBob's and that kind of thing. Sesame Street will always be that cornerstone where if a kid can't afford to watch SpongeBob, because, I mean, face it, some of them can't, you know. If you're below the poverty line, more than likely you're not going to have cable TV, which this is their options of things to watch. So I definitely think it's well worth the money. I do hope they find some kind of middle ground with who they're fighting with here. They do deserve pensions. They do deserve retirement plans. You know, it's not a big ask. The other big problem that they're going to run into is I can't remember what year it was, but I'm wanting to say like 5 years ago, Sesame Street almost crumbled. They did not have the funding. There was no way to, the government was basically saying there's no money for you. And that is when HBO stepped in. And HBO was like, well, we got your money. You know, you come on over here. And I will say that since HBO got a hold of it, they've made the programming better, that just the quality alone, the guests, some of the more complex subjects that they're talking about. And you can definitely tell some money's been put into Sesame Street. So I do hope they continue, because even when HBO got a hold of it, they still made it free. It's still on public access TV. So, I don't know. I hope they find an answer to this, because I would hate to see Sesame Street go away, and that's very likely at this point. So, I don't know. We'll see how long it strikes and how many people will stand with Elmo. But if it was me, I'd give him the money. But it is kind of sad because they don't have a Mr. Rogers speaking for him this time, So we'll see. I wish them luck. They're going up against some giants. And HBO being owned by Warner Brothers, you know what dicks they're up against. But see, and that's another. How many children's shows have we seen that WB has canceled here lately? So I'm hoping this isn't one that they can just go, This isn't just Sesame Street being affected. There's a couple of things that Sesame Street makes, which I'm not ringing about. The most newest one is Mecha Builders, which is not puppets. It's actually computer generated. And that's another thing. People are like, well, can't we just do this all by AI now? No, we can't. There's an art form that will be lost here if we just make everything computer generated, or there's a lot more behind it.
I mean, it can, but you would lose a lot if you went to or digital cartoons, that type of thing. Yeah. Instead of the humans and the puppets and all that. Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Just think how much passion that Henson put into his characters. Just being him, you know. You can't get that from a computer. So, I don't know. Like I said, I hope they work it out, because it's really sad, because this isn't just some little cartoon, you know. This is a good educational program that we're talking about not having anymore for a wide variety, age variety, you know. So we don't need to lose more good kids programming. We're losing so much as it is, that I really hope they're open to negotiations and work this one out, because this would be a huge, huge hit to children's entertainment.
Yeah.
So good luck.
I would.
Yep.
Okay. With my article, I've kind of went off from something from what we normally do, but I heard about this and looked into this, and I'm surprised we're not hearing more stuff like this, but I'm sure it's going to be happening. And this is actually involving music. We're all familiar with the tribute bands. These are musical acts or actual bands that are playing music of other acts, and sometimes they go as far as dressing up as the original members and that type of stuff. It's kind of a slippery slope legally, because I mean, you got to be careful with what you use to promote and all that. You got to make sure you're saying tribute band too. Here's a cautionary tale. Next month in Miami, there will be a trial to assess damages against Substantial Music Group and Stellar Communications over the act that is known as Earth, Wind, and Fire Legacy Reunion. They've been sued by Earth, Wind, and Fire LLC. This is the legit band, over copyright infringement. They said that the Legacy Reunion used the band's logo, wordmark, and other intellectual property in advertising and promotional material. Even some of the, I don't want to know its testimonies, but there's stuff that was submitted where people who have bought tickets to go see Legacy Reunion, which, by the way, is made up of former sideman musicians. I mean, so they actually played with Earth, Wind, and Fire, but they're obviously not in the band currently. And Earth, Wind, and Fire is still going around big time. I mean, matter of fact, this summer they're touring with Lionel Richie. I'm going, ooh, that might be a fun concert. Let's see. In a direct statement obtained from a fan, I attended the EWF Legacy Reunion in Pensacola, Florida, in hopes of seeing Philip Bailey, Burdine White, and the others from the original band. Their pictures are on the advertisements, posters, and whatever. The impression of a reunion would be the original band members are from various years. So they're using images of the band, which is including Philip Bailey and Burdine White. Hell, some of them may even have Maurice White, and he's been dead for a couple of years. And they're saying, hey, the word
Then they've got the word reunion in there too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty shady sounding.
It's very yeah. And I did a little look into this, and I saw one person say he bought two third row tickets for $500
for a tribute band.
for a tribute band who's saying they're not a tribute band.
Right.
Huh.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you definitely can't use their images for one. You know.
And I've actually looked at the logo, and it's they don't say. I mean, it just says Legacy Reunion. There's nothing there saying it's a tribute band. So I mean, they've this is a really big mess up, and it's going to cost these companies a lot of money for doing that.
Yeah. So it's like, what's the guy's name from Queensrÿche? Or not? Yeah, Queensrÿche. Jeff Tate. Jeff Tate. They just had a big blowout too, and he got in trouble for using the Queensrÿche logo. And I mean, it was in court for years and everything else. And now to get around that, they're doing, what is it, formerly the voice of Queensrÿche, or he's found a small way to get around. They're still not happy about it, but they're like, as long as people know that by coming to see you, they're not seeing Queensrÿche,
right?
Which I think they are, but yeah.
Well,
but to use their pictures like that's
right.
That's just yucky.
Yeah, and the pictures and the logo and all that's I don't understand. Yeah, that's a bridge too far.
Like total fraud there. Yeah. I mean, I can kind of see with Jeff Tate getting away with it because hell, he was the voice for the band for 30 some odd years, you know. But I
mean, so, the promotional material saying Jeff Tate, former lead vocals for Queensrÿche, is one thing. Because, I mean, I'm seeing that. Y'all know I'm a big Chicago fan, and I follow Bill Champlin. And there's stuff there, when he's doing some performances with Danny Seraphine's CTA. There's actually a group. Groups loosely. They may actually become a group and actually record original material. But it's like Bill Champlin, it's Jeff Coffey, it's Keith Howland. They all say formerly of Chicago. And then I forgot who the drummer was from Earth, Wind & Fire, but they say formerly of Earth, Wind & Fire, and they call themselves the Players.
There you go. Nice generic name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't cross anybody up that way.
So, so they're capitalizing on their previous.
Right, they're making it known that what they.
But they're making it obviously known that don't come here expecting a Chicago concert, although I'm sure a lot of it will be Chicago, but
sure.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard about that, and it's crazy. And the other thing that's been kind of blowing up, and it's also mentioned in this article. This is from Forbes. Is the whole thing with Burton Cummings and the Guess Who? He's actually come out and canceled whatever arrangements they have to where they can't sing of any of the songs that he wrote, which is basically all their hits.
Right.
Yeah.
Him and Randy Bachman had filed a lawsuit last year, trying to get them the stop. To get the current version of Guess Who, which is Jim Cale, who's the bassist, and Gary Peterson. But from what I'm hearing, there's like 2 additional drummers because he can't perform the entire gig. So that's going to be interesting, kind of seeing that.
Yeah.
Here comes the Guess Who, but you can't hear any of the songs that you know because we can't sing them without getting sued.
See, and I think Jeff Tate's only allowed to sing things off of think it was Operation Mindcrime, since he wrote most of that, but yeah. Huh.
But we're probably going to see a lot more of this type of stuff, because as we're getting to the point where, I mean, the YouTube channel Rock History Music has been kind of covering this a lot recently. But it's talking about, hey, Foreigner has no musician that actually was on any of the albums. It's that point. Because was it Mick? Is it Mick Jones?
Yeah.
Mick Jones. Yeah, he is so ill that he can't even get on stage. And Lou Graham's been out. Yeah, he's been fired, brought back, and then kicked out again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I think there's a couple of other original members that are still alive. Not too many, but they're not playing. So it's a group of people who had no association with the original music, and there are several of bands out there like that, like a Little River Band. No original member there. Matter of fact, for a band that was started up in Australia, I think that they're pretty much all European except for one American.
Dang.
So that I think at that point you shouldn't be able to call yourself Foreigner. You're not. I mean, you know how to play their music, so wouldn't you just be a glorified tribute band at that point?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of some of the discussions that's being brought up on the channel about that type of stuff. And I understand that, but God, I remember seeing, I don't know how many years back it was. Here's four black men standing up there, and they're all in their late 50s or so, and hey, it's the Temptations. I'm like, no, that's not the Temptations. They're all dead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this has actually been going on for a long time. It just now it's to the point where lawyers are getting involved because money's involved.
Right, and the reason, the way money's involved is that there are people that are still willing to spend money to see the Temptations.
Yes.
Just to use the last example you gave.
Mm-hmm. Or Foreigner, yeah.
Yeah, or Foreigner, or Queensryche, or whatever.
Right.
Or the Guess Who.
Pantera.
There's a bunch of boomers out there who still want to see these bands, even though most of the members are dead or retired for medical reasons or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as people are willing to put down money for it, there's going to be somebody wanting to take that money.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of sick in its own little capitalist way.
It is. Well, that's kind of what's happening with Pantera. He is responsible for Dimebag Darrell dying. They kicked him out of the band, and now that God, I can't remember his brother's name. Vinny's gone. Now he's taken over the band, which they never wanted him to do. To me, that's just wrong.
No.
You did nothing but sing. That's it. You didn't write. You didn't perform. You definitely didn't die for it like he made some of them. But, hey, let's collect all the fame and money from it now.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's wrong. The original members are dead. Don't fuck with it. Leave it alone. Do it tribute. For
someone who is hung up on nostalgia as much as you are, you sure seem to fail to grasp it sometimes.
Yeah, I guess nostalgia should bring up good, happy feelings. But when the man making money is solely responsible for one of the band members dying, he shouldn't be making money off of that. It's wrong.
Money doesn't judge.
Yeah. And even Vinny's
the
dad
people who are willing
and
to pay
Dime's
for
dad,
Pantera tickets apparently don't judge either. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And Zach Wilde, who was supposed to be their best friend, yeah, stab that dagger in their back when they're dead. Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
One we may or may not get to. But anyway.
And I didn't even.
I think once your original members are gone, you shouldn't be able to have that name. At that point, you're a tribute band, or like you guys said, a cover band.
Yeah.
Even if you have one guy who can't hang it up, you're a tribute band. You're not what that band was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely can't use pictures of them on your promos.
Certainly not.
You know? That's yucky. I hope they win that one too.
Oh,
Sesame Street.
Well, I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire's already won the lawsuit. The lawsuit for next month is to establish how much they're going to get paid for all this. Yeah.
Should be all of it. You used them. You wouldn't have gotten that money had you not used them.
Well.
And you knew that. That's why you used them. So I think any money they made off tickets or whatever should all go to them.
Well, we'll see.
May not be that simple, but
yeah.
In theory, yeah. But yeah.
Right.
Morals usually aren't.
Theory and practice are two different things.
Right.
Yep.
And I didn't even bring up the whole thing with the Eagles. Have y'all heard about this?
No.
Y'all got it? Y'all got a couple of minutes on this one? Because this is going to be crazy. You want to talk about high robbery? One of these channels that got suggested to me had a video here. I mean, this was like last Friday or something like that. Apparently, it's this guy who analyzes music and all this kind of stuff. Well, one of his viewers had reached out to him and said, "Hey, here's this video that was posted back in November, and here's a video that was posted last month in March for whoever may be listening to this down the road." It is the Eagles live. So since these are 2 different days, these are 2 different places, these are 2 different people recording it in 2 different locations, different seatings and all that kind of stuff. The song is Desperado. And the viewer says, it sounds like this is the same. He's singing it the same. Well, this guy starts analyzing it, and yes, it is the same vocal track.
Uh-oh.
So the Eagles are lip syncing?
The Eagles are lip syncing live performances. They're doing it Milli Vanilli.
Which Eagles are involved in this exactly?
Henley. And now, from what I hadn't watched it, but apparently Schmidt's doing it. And I'm like, Schmidt sings one fucking song, and he has to lip sync that. I can't tell you why.
So you might be able to sing like that anymore. God, that was 40 years ago.
Well, I understand that, but you know what? You could change the key to make it so he doesn't kill his voice. But I mean, that's better than doing a lip sync and then have the audience spend hundreds of dollars to see a not live performance.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm with you. I think it's bullshit, but I'm also not surprised about it out of the Eagles. But anyway.
So, well, the thing I'm really surprised about this is Henley is apparently goes after YouTubers a lot,
hard,
especially
yes.
hard. The fact that these videos are still up, I'm surprised. But but as I was discussing this with my sister, I was like, but if he goes after them, isn't he admitting that they're right?
I mean, he set the precedent that he goes after everyone, so technically no.
Yeah.
But
still, I bet it could be construed that way.
Yeah, it could be, for sure. And it probably should be, but yeah.
See, and that makes sense because the lead singer of Def Leppard the other day made the comment that if you come see us, you're watching us, you're hearing what I sound like, and the day I can't do that, I won't do that anymore. And I thought, well, that's kind of a weird thing to say,
Well, and it may be,
why.
Yeah.
No, I know why. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, we kind of touched on this with the whole Kiss thing. I don't think it's right if you go to a concert and you hear canned music. You're paying sometimes out the nose to hear that song raw,
Yeah.
what it actually
but
sounds like.
But if they're telling you up front that that's
what
they're doing, then there's not really anything wrong with that.
That's what
most of them don't.
Right,
you
but
think
Kiss
Taylor
does.
Swift goes out on stage and goes, "Hey guys, I'm lip syncing."
No, but Kiss does. And
yeah.
they're not making any bones about it. They admitted it right up front. They said this is what's going to happen.
You're looking at AI lip syncing to vocal tracks we recorded months, if not years ago.
Right, and they owned it. They put it right out there.
They are up front.
Right. Mm-hmm. So give them credit for that.
I can respect that more than the ones that are acting like they're doing it, and then you see video where they weren't doing it.
Right.
So.
Or like with Motley Crue now, who they're trying to say that, who was it? The guitarist. They're saying they were saying that the guitarist wasn't really playing, and that's why they kicked it. It was the bassist, Mars. So they kicked him out of the band. Well, now that he's been kicked out of the band, he's like, wait a minute. If you guys want to hear some shit, listen to Vince Neil. Who do you think's using a backing track? And they cut down the audio to where you actually hear Vince Neil singing, and it's shit. It is total shit. And it's like, okay. And the same thing with Nikki Sixx. He was like, he didn't touch a goddamn string the whole tour, but they're going to tell me I wasn't playing on time. So they put a metronome up against his song when they were doing Dr. Feelgood, and he's perfect right there on time with the metronome, perfect sync. But Mr. Nicky over there is all crazy and out of time and everything else. So he's like, so who was wrong here? Who's using backing? Who made this fucking band? I don't see how you can kick out the founder. To me, that blows my mind. I made this fucking band. I brought all you assholes together and made this band. How can you kick me out of this? This is mine, Especially since he took a back seat for so long. And now you're going to kick me out?
Yeah.
Fuck y'all.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what comes of all this. It may not be nothing, but who knows?
Music scene's just gotten to be crap here lately.
Music scene was always crap. It was just crap in different ways.
Yeah. Now it's just a greedy, yucky way.
No, that's the way it's always been.
It's
just that different people are people you thought weren't like that. You're finding out are like that now.
Like that. Yep.
All right. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
No, I'm good.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll move on to our regular shout-outs. Want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be a part of a great podcast network. Check them out. There'll be a link in the show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who were kind enough to spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter. The best way to do that is to do a search, #PodernFamily, all one word. Just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, click on that link and download the episode. We also want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. In our show notes, there will be a link to where you can check out some of their other music. And that's all performed by the original members.
Mm-hmm. Damn right it is.
Mm-hmm.
No cans.
Mm-hmm. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We appreciate your support. Any feedback, please send them our way. Email is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out. We do have a Discord that you can join if you are interested in hanging out with us. We do have a feedback channel there that you can post your thoughts. On social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Instagram and Twitter, we're at Fellowship Geeks. If you want to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, our friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,